We recently explored the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda in 1994. Following those atrocities, Rwanda and Uganda invaded Congo twice. Rwanda, Uganda, former Zaire, Angola, Namibia, and Zimbabwe were among the countries involved in the resulting conflicts. The entire country of Congo became embroiled in what would come to be known as the Congo War. To the outside world, it has been labeled Africa's First World War, a relentless cycle of foreign invasions, ceaseless killing, and immeasurable suffering that seemed to achieve little but destruction. This conflict, with its regional scope and historical antecedents, has been described as one of the most intricate and devastating struggles in modern African history, leaving an indelible mark on millions of lives. The epicenter of this chaos was in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, a region where survival for some meant everything and where immense wealth motivated others. Yet, what truly fueled this conflict? What perpetuates it? Little more than a decade ago, the citizens of the Democratic Republic of Congo could not have foreseen that their plight could worsen. After gaining independence from Belgium in 1960, hopes of a bright future quickly dissolved under decades of corruption and mismanagement under Mobutu Sese Seko. Mobutu, who rebranded the nation as Zaire, wrapped himself in the guise of nationalism while siphoning the country's wealth, leaving ordinary citizens to endure the deterioration of their homeland. This era fostered disillusionment and despair among the people, who became disenchanted with the promises of independence as they watched their nation crumble. By the 1970s and 1980s, Zaire disintegrated into fractured city-states, each isolated as roads decayed and communication systems collapsed. Major cities like Kisangani in the north, Goma in the east, and Lubumbashi in the south operated independently, often economically tied to neighboring countries. Hospitals became places to die rather than places to heal, with scarce resources and trained personnel. Stories from elders paint a stark contrast between Zaire's past and present, reminiscing about a time when cars traversed the continent and travelers stopped at luxury hotels along Lake Kivu. Decades later, infrastructure had crumbled, and the once grand hotels stood as ghostly reminders of lost potential. These accounts not only serve as a testament to what once was, but also underscore the profound sense of loss and missed opportunities for generations to come. In the early 1970s, Mobutu's reign briefly seemed promising, inspiring a return of professionals eager to build a new future. However, this dream was short-lived. By the 1990s, with Mobutu's kleptocracy in its twilight, hope gave way to despair. Many believed that any change, no matter how radical, would be an improvement. But when the Rwandans arrived, the region was plunged into a decade of violence, mass death, and the near-total collapse of functioning government institutions in large parts of Congo. The arrival of Rwandan forces, coupled with long-standing internal tensions, created a situation where the lines between liberation and exploitation blurred, plunging the region further into chaos. The assassination of Rwanda's President Juvenal Habyarimana in April 1994 marked a turning point for Central Africa. The extremist Hutu regime that seized power orchestrated a genocide that claimed the lives of 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. While the regime excelled at targeting unarmed civilians, it was less effective against the Tutsi-led Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, under Paul Kagame. The RPF ousted the extremists, driving over 1 million Hutus, including political leaders and militia members, into Zaire, fearing retribution. This mass displacement would have dire consequences for the stability of the region, as the influx of refugees created both humanitarian crises and political tensions. Refugees crowded desolate camps around Goma, where cholera and starvation claimed tens of thousands of lives. Yet, among them were Hutu extremists, the Interahamwe militia, who had orchestrated the genocide and now prepared for another conflict. The UN inadvertently enabled these extremists by recognizing their control of refugee camps and food distribution, providing the resources they needed to regroup and rearm. By 1996, Rwanda could no longer tolerate this looming threat on its borders. Rwandan forces invaded Zaire, dismantling the camps and forcing hundreds of thousands back into Rwanda. While many returned unscathed, those who remained former soldiers and their families were relentlessly pursued and killed. These invasions, although portrayed by Rwanda as defensive, opened Pandora's box, leading to a sequence of events that engulfed the region in bloodshed. the Rwandan military allied with Congolese rebels under Laurent Desire Kabila, overthrowing Mobutu and installing Kabila as the leader of the newly renamed Democratic Republic of Congo in 1997. However, Kabila soon fell out with his Rwandan backers, prompting another Rwandan invasion in 1998. This time, the conflict spiraled into a larger regional war involving multiple African nations. Angola and Zimbabwe supported Congo, while Uganda and Burundi allied with Rwanda. As foreign armies vied for power, they exploited Congo's rich resources, turning war into a lucrative enterprise fueled by the trade of diamonds, gold, and coltan. This exploitation of resources not only prolonged the conflict but also revealed the complex interplay of greed, geopolitics, and survival strategies in a war-ravaged nation. For Congolese civilians, this war brought unparalleled misery. From 1998 onward, millions perished, not just from violence but from hunger and disease. Entire communities were displaced, and sexual violence became a horrifying weapon of war. A peace agreement in 2002 led to the withdrawal of most foreign troops, but local rebel factions, many with ties to Rwanda, continued to dominate eastern Congo. Among them was the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, FDLR, a Hutu extremist group that remained a significant threat to stability. Their presence in eastern Congo perpetuated the cycle of violence, as Rwanda's Tutsi-led government feared their resurgence and potential to launch new genocidal campaigns. These fears, though justified, often led to actions that exacerbated tensions, creating a vicious cycle of distrust and retribution. General Laurent Nkunda, a former Rwandan intelligence officer, emerged as a controversial figure in this ongoing conflict. Leading a Tutsi-dominated rebel faction, he claimed to protect local Tutsi populations from groups like the FDLR. However, his forces were implicated in numerous atrocities, including massacres, mass rapes, and the displacement of Hutu communities. Despite accusations of war crimes, Nkunda garnered support from Christian evangelists in the United States and maintained links to Rwanda, further complicating the regional dynamics. The international community's role in either aiding or ignoring such actors remains a subject of intense debate, highlighting the global dimensions of this conflict. The FDLR, meanwhile, continued to recruit fighters, including child soldiers, and plotted incursions into Rwanda. Though weakened over the years, their presence remained a constant source of tension. The Rwandan government, under Paul Kagame, saw the FDLR as an existential threat, comparing their menace to that of Al-Qaeda for the United States. For Rwanda, the stakes were survival. For Congo, the war became synonymous with foreign exploitation and internal devastation. These overlapping conflicts, driven by historical grievances, ethnic rivalries, and economic interests, have left scars across Central Africa. Millions remain displaced, and the region's fragile peace is continually threatened by entrenched mistrust and competing agendas. While Rwanda views its actions as defensive, protecting its borders and people, Congolese citizens see a belligerent neighbor siphoning their nation's wealth. The unresolved tensions underscore the complexity of a conflict that defies simple solutions, a tragedy shaped by decades of colonialism, corruption, and cycles of vengeance. These cycles, perpetuated by both internal and external actors, make the prospects for lasting peace elusive. The current relationship between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo remains deeply fraught and complex. In recent years, tensions have continued to simmer, with periodic eruptions of violence in eastern Congo. The M23 rebel group, widely believed to be supported by Rwanda, has been a particular source of conflict. In 2022 and 2023, M23 rebels made significant territorial gains in North Kivu province, causing widespread displacement and renewed international concern. The Congolese government has repeatedly accused Rwanda of directly supporting these rebel groups, a charge Rwanda vehemently denies, instead claiming that it is responding to security threats along its border. Diplomatic relations between the two countries have been particularly strained, with periods of complete breakdown and limited communication. International mediation efforts, including initiatives by regional bodies like the East African Community, have attempted to broker peace and reduce tensions. However, the underlying issues remain unresolved. The fundamental mistrust stems from historical traumas, ongoing security concerns, and competition for resources in the eastern Congo region. While some progress has been made through diplomatic channels, the situation remains volatile, with both sides maintaining hardline positions that make comprehensive reconciliation challenging. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of the most complex and devastating conflicts in modern history. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support more content like this. Your engagement helps shed light on these critical issues. Much respect to you all.